They said I was wasting my time, that my so-called idea would never make it out of the garage. They rolled their eyes behind forced smiles. I heard them. The laughter, the late-night jokes I wasn't supposed to hear. But I stayed quiet, not because I agreed, but because I knew silence had its own power. They rewrote my story before I had a chance to live it. To them, I was just another dreamer who wouldn't let go. But it wasn't failure. It was something bigger, just not visible yet. And when the world finally saw it, they acted like they always believed. But they didn't. Not until it sold out. In 24 hours. My name is Maya Brooks, I'm 29, and I live in Austin, Texas. I was supposed to be a marketing executive. That was the plan. Graduate from NYU, land a job at some agency in Manhattan, and work my way up. Neat, safe, predictable. And I tried. I really did. For 2 years, I played the game, coffee orders, pitch decks, 12-hour days in glass-walled rooms where no one remembered your name if your heels weren't loud enough. But I felt hollow, like I was dressing up a version of me someone else invented. The burnout crept in quietly. I stopped sleeping. I started crying on the subway. My chest would tighten at the sound of morning alarms. I once had a panic attack in a bathroom stall because I forgot the login password to my laptop. It wasn't just stress. It was something deeper, like my soul was shutting down. When I finally quit, I didn't tell anyone at first. Not even my mom. When I did, the reactions were quiet. Too quiet. She's just taking a break, Aunt Gloria whispered at Thanksgiving. We don't talk about that anymore, my cousin Alexis said when someone asked what I was doing now. The silence felt louder than any judgment. Worse than disapproval was invisibility. And while they kept telling the world I was on hiatus, I was quietly rebuilding, starting something new from scratch. But no one noticed. It started in my kitchen. Just me, a borrowed stand mixer, and a feeling I couldn't name. I wasn't thinking about profits or marketing. I just wanted to make something with my hands, something real. Baking had always been a kind of therapy for me, even back in college. But this time, I wasn't baking for friends. I was experimenting, testing, trying to craft a cookie that wasn't just good, but different, honest. I didn't even have a name for it at first. Just batches of failure. Burned edges. Flat middles. Dough that wouldn't chill. But I kept going. Every day after my morning walks, I came home and got back to it. Then one afternoon, I brought a batch to my neighbor, Mrs. Eleanor Jacobs. 84 years old, sharp as a whip, and completely unimpressed with anything store-bought. These better not taste like cardboard, she said as she bit into one. Then silence. Then, this. This tastes like the ones my mother used to make during the war. She closed her eyes. You brought my baby into my living room, she whispered. I blinked. What do you mean? She looked at me with tears in her eyes. That flavor, that texture, it's like home came back for a visit. That moment lit something in me. It wasn't just about cookies anymore. It was about memory, emotion, feeling seen even if just for a second. I began baking more, giving out samples at the local co-op. People started asking if I sold them. Then they asked if I shipped. I didn't even have packaging yet. Or a name. It didn't make headlines. But it mattered. I called it Home Baked by Maya. Simple. Honest. Like the cookies themselves. I designed the logo on Canva, printed labels at Office Depot, and hand-packed each brown craft box with twine and a tiny note that read, Made with memory. I started small, 10 boxes a week, sold through Instagram DMs. Then 30. Then 50. A food blogger named Kelsey Monroe stumbled across a photo someone tagged me in and reposted it with, I've never tasted nostalgia until I tried these. That changed everything. The DMs flooded in. Orders quadrupled. I had to move production to a shared commercial kitchen downtown. By month 5, I had a website, a mailing list with over 6,000 subscribers, and an average order return rate of 41%. Our email open rate was 74%. That's higher than some Fortune 500 companies. Local boutiques started stocking my sampler packs. A subscription box deal came through from a wellness brand in Oregon. I hired two part-time assistants, Jenna and Luis, both culinary students who believed in the heart behind the product. We were shipping over 300 boxes a week, but still nothing for my family. Mom would call, but she never asked how the business was going. Just, "Are you eating okay? Don't forget to update your resume." At a birthday dinner, Uncle Rick looked over at me and said, "So, you're teaching people how to make cookies now?" Then laughed. Nobody corrected him. At Christmas, my cousin Danielle posted a family group selfie with the caption, "Future doctor, future lawyer, future senator, and Maya," with a laughing emoji. I laughed along. I always did. But it stung. They didn't ask about my features in Local Bites Weekly. They didn't care when we hit our first $10,000 week. They didn't see the late nights, the burned fingertips, the aching back from hours of baking, labeling, hauling. To them, I was still the girl who could have been something. But I was becoming someone. Someone real. Someone full. And though they didn't see me, strangers did.
Customers did.
People who bit into my cookies and told me it reminded them of their grandmother's hands. People who sent me letters, actual handwritten letters, saying my cookies made them cry. I wasn't just making cookies. I was giving people back something they didn't know they missed. But my family? They still saw me as the dropout with the hobby. It was a Sunday afternoon, spring just blooming through the windows, when I was invited to a friend's baby shower. Held at a cozy cafe in Silver Lake, the kind of spot where vintage couches mix with overpriced lattes and stories spill between strangers. I wasn't planning to stay long. I brought a box of my cookies as a gift, wrapped in soft blush tissue with a velvet ribbon. Across the room, I noticed a woman talking to a group of guests. Tall, mid-30s, striking presence. She held a toddler on her hip while gesturing with the other hand. Her voice carried a warmth that made people lean in. I wasn't paying close attention until I heard my brand's name. Not my name. Not Maya. But home-baked. I inched closer. She was crying, the woman said, adjusting her son. My grandmother hasn't spoken since my grandpa passed last fall. But when she opened that box, I swear she started talking. Someone asked, "Wait, from cookies?" She nodded.
Yeah.
Home-baked by Maya. My brother's fiancée sent them. Said she heard they tasted like memory. She chuckled softly. That was her phrase. But I'll never forget the look in my grandmother's eyes. Like something cracked open inside her. She whispered, "Vanilla and clove just like the winter of '52. I froze. The ribbon on that box? The card with that exact quote. Tastes like memory? That was mine. I stepped forward, slowly. "Sorry, did you say home-baked by Maya?" She turned toward me. "Yeah. Do you know it?" I smiled carefully. I'm Maya." Her face changed, like a light turned on behind her eyes. "Oh my God," she whispered. "You made those." Everyone quieted. The hum of chatter fell away. All eyes on me now. She crossed the room in 3 steps and hugged me.
Just like that.
Not the polite kind of hug you give acquaintances. A full, sincere, soul-level thank you. When she stepped back, her eyes were shining. "I don't think you understand what you did. My grandmother, she hadn't spoken a full sentence in months. But your cookies," she told us stories about her childhood for 2 hours that night. My dad was crying. We all were. I swallowed hard. My throat felt thick. "I had no idea," I said. She nodded. "You weren't supposed to. You just made them and sent them out into the world." She looked around the circle. "Isn't that something?" There was silence. The good kind. The kind that holds respect. One woman whispered, "Wow." Another added, "That's beautiful." Then someone asked for my Instagram. Another for my website. People pulled out their phones, followed, screens lighting up like tiny affirmations. In that moment, I didn't boast. I didn't need to. Recognition had walked in on its own. No invitation. No introduction. Not because I demanded attention, but because the truth walked in by itself and refused to stay quiet. A week after the baby shower, I got a message from my brother, Dylan. Just a simple line in my inbox. Mom told me about the cookies. She was crying, said she's proud of you. It didn't feel loud. It didn't come with flowers or a billboard of an apology. But it landed. And it stayed. That same night, I found a card slipped under my apartment door. Cream envelope, my name in delicate handwriting.
Inside.
I may not have understood your journey, but I see you now. Love, Mom. I sat with it in my hand for a long time. I didn't frame it. I didn't take a picture for Instagram. I just kept it tucked in a small drawer beside my stove. And I realized something. I wasn't waiting for their applause anymore. The silence that once stung so bitterly now felt like peace. They hadn't changed the story. I had. Not through defiance. Not through shouting. But through staying true to something real, even when no one clapped. I thought back to the quiet nights baking in my cramped kitchen. The labels I stuck by hand. The first website order that made me scream and dance like a kid. It wasn't pride. It was peace. That kind of peace comes softly, without permission. And once it finds you, it stays. If you've ever felt dismissed, if your ideas have been laughed at, overlooked, or ignored by the very people you hoped would cheer for you, this story is for you. Not every victory comes with confetti. Sometimes it's just a moment, one stranger, one quiet thank you, one soul touched by something you made with your hands. That's enough. You don't need the world to understand right away. You just need to keep going, keep building, keep believing in the thing they can't yet see. Because one day they will. So, where are you watching from? Tell me your story. Drop it in the comments. Someone out there needs to hear it. This channel is for the quiet fighters, the late bloomers, the underestimated, the ones who kept showing up anyway. Thank you for listening. And I promise, more real stories are coming soon. You're not alone. Not anymore.